This is one of the few places in town with this much shade, this verdant canopy. The easiest way to describe my job is I'm in charge of the plants and keeping them happy and healthy. One of the things that sets us apart from a lot of our sister gardens is that we are an organic-based botanical garden. So we do not use any petrochemicals. We do our best to not use pesticides. We try to keep as much of a balanced ecosystem as we can.
The mission of the gardens is to connect people with plants and nature through art, science, history, and culture. I started at the gardens back in 2002, when the gardens only had about 700 members and a staff of about 15. Today we're at about 6,200 households. In fact, I remember back in the old days, our horticultural budget was about $700 a year. We're happy to celebrate this year our 50th anniversary. What we're celebrating is the day that the city of Tucson turned over the deed of the property to the organization, the Tucson Botanical Gardens. But the story of the founding of the garden started many years before that with Harrison Yoakum, who started the club, the Tucson Botanical Garden Club, and then the Porter family, whose property we're sitting on. In 1939, Bernice and Rutger Porter built this little house on this property. Mr. Porter was one of Tucson's first nursery owners, and so many of the trees that you see in Tucson were planted by Rutger Porter. Bernice was a naturalist. She studied biology, so it was a marriage kind of made in heaven. Mr. Porter had passed away, and Mrs. Porter had always dreamed of the garden being a botanical garden for the public. Half of this garden is really historical, and we keep it that way. But there's also a beautiful herb garden. Of course, we have our Cox Butterfly and Orchid Pavilion, the Cactus and Succulent Garden. The most beloved garden is our Barrio Garden. It's a typical Mexican backyard garden. We also have a Zen garden. In May of 2024, the gardens opened the Great Garden Express Railroad. And then we have little sensory ramadas that really give you little pockets. It just gives you a real sense of immersion into that space. We also house 4 galleries with rotating exhibits. We have a cafe on site.
This is our new Frida's garden. At the time she was creating her famous garden in Casa Azul, formal plantings were usually plants from Europe and not from Mexico particularly, or even the Americas in general. So she collected some plants from South America and Mexico for her space, and so that's what we've done in that space as well.
The first traveling exhibit called Nature Connects, it was a Lego exhibit. That was totally transformed the gardens with 1,000 new members, bringing in people who had typically never thought about entering a botanical garden. And I've always said that that's a bit of our job. You know, it's very easy to attract naturalists and gardeners to a garden, but how do we get those people that are not naturalists and are not horticulturalists or are not gardeners to become passionate about gardens and about nature specifically?
We're in the Butterfly Magic exhibit. This is the only and first tropical butterfly exhibit in southern Arizona. We've been here since 2004, so this is our 21st year. We house over our season about 300 to 400 butterflies at any given time. They're all from the tropics, so Costa Rica, Malaysia, different parts of southern Africa. The other thing that we do is try and educate people about conservation and get people interested in essentially how these species should be protected in their native habitats. The people that we purchase from are essentially putting that money back into communities and also into conservation efforts.
Well, we're in an old janitor's closet that's been converted to our train repair room. The weather here has been very harsh on our trains. We've burned out a number of engines over the summer. I was always good with my hands, so I was a trauma surgeon. very unrelated.
If you're here exploring the botanical gardens and you see a butterfly or a bird or a lizard that fascinates you and you want to learn more, we will likely have the programming that can help you discover more about anything that your eyes can see here at the gardens. One of the programs that we do here is Garden Story Time. It's geared for preschool kids, but all ages are welcome. We have a volunteer who is a professional puppeteer, so we have puppets to help us tell the stories.
I work with a range of different populations. The one common theme amongst those populations is that they have some type of therapeutic need, whether that is recovering from an illness or coping with a new life circumstance or dealing with a lifelong disability. I work with those populations to accomplish goals that improve their quality of life and overall level of independence in a garden setting. So we're planting, we're harvesting, we're cooking the food, they're growing plants from seed all the way to maturity. And in the process of doing all those activities, they're working on enhancing their fine and gross motor skills, boosting their ability to communicate, increasing their self-confidence. This has been going on since the 80s, and it's been passed along to various horticultural therapists over the years, and so I luckily got this position.
We're 5.5 acres, but we feel so much bigger than that because you come into 20 plus different spaces while you're in this garden.
You know, you can always tell the story of plants in a broader, deeper sense by connecting it to other things in the world.
Hi, I'm Tom McNamara, host of Arizona Illustrated. Thank you for watching this Arizona Illustrated story here on YouTube. And if you like that one, well, here's another story we think you'll like.